We're going to talk about a topic that is very concerning for a lot of my brothers and sisters. We're going to talk about erectile dysfunction. So, again, I'll be bringing it into three parts. It will be the parts that are the most important. It will be the mental part, the physical part, and the sexual part, which is the most important part. So that's the part that will be most interesting. I'm going to say, right before I present myself, I want to say, if you are a woman and you're watching this, don't say, hey, it's about the man. So I do want my ladies to be there because I'm about to have some very juicy conversation with y'all that will benefit you, that could help you to hold on to your relationship that you have with your man. But also you, brother, if you're watching this, if your wife is not next to you, call them so they could be part of this conversation. This is something we do a lot in our office, and we like to do it with couples. So that's why I say if you have a partner, even if they are not with you, whether you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, somebody you're hanging out with, it's the perfect time to send them a message so they could be part of this great conversation that we're about to have. Statistically, according to the CDC, about 18.4% of male 20s and older have some type of ED. So is it something we could fix? Yes. And that's why I'm going to go through this three little process here real quick. So number one, you cannot talk about erectile dysfunction without thinking about the mental state of a man. And the simple reason is because when we talk about an erection, it starts with the brain. The man has to be mentally stable to be able to perform sexually, because the first signal, it goes from the brain. So if mentally you're not stable, if you're not sleeping well, you're stressed out, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to perform well. The other part that is extremely important, and I'll say that first part, you ladies out there, the more you could help your man to relax, not as stressed out, which this part is very connected to the last part, which is the most important part. But the second part that I want to talk about is the physical well-being of a man. Because obviously an ejaculation has to do with a signal that comes from the brain that goes down to those muscles in your penis that makes it go hard. It causes a relaxation that increase blood flow in this part of your body that makes all this happen. So obviously you have to also look at the physical part of things. And when we talk about physical, now we have to also look at us as men. We don't like to get a checkup. So we always think if I get a checkup, it's going to stress me out or I have to be sick. But let me tell you, you don't have to be sick to get yourself checked out. So a physical is something that is recommended for all of us. Every year we should get it done. I get it done every year. And what I explain to people, like in our office in Smyrna, what we do, we give a $50 discount to men, well, not just men, to anybody to come and do a physical, because we encourage that. Because what happens is people have the tendency, until the problem arrives, that's when they think, okay, hey, I'm going to do something. And part of the physical health, you work out, all these things will kind of help you to be physically fit. Because remember, the brain is sending the signal. But when the signal hits this part of your body has to be in condition. If your body is not well conditioned, then yes, you may get the signal, it goes there. That's why a lot of you guys, sometimes you see this beautiful girl and you're like, oh, wow, she looks so beautiful. And you have that signal, it goes there. But then when you start, bang, oh, Jesus, I don't make it. And that it creates a shame, which is what we call psychogenic problem. So it causes a problem where now it's in your mind. So this is why we should be taking good care of ourselves. We should be making sure we're eating good food, eating yourself good protein, good vegetables. Avoid all those bad fats. Fat can be good for you because some of those fats can actually help you with your testosterone level. So we need to eat well. we need to make sure that we keep checking our blood work. And for our blood work, when you check your physical, for instance, you think, well, why do I need to a screening? Well, you need a screening because let's say today you go, you check your A1C for diabetes, for instance, because diabetes, by the way, could be a cause of you not being able to perform sexually. But if I check my A1C today, which is the measure that we do to see if you are diabetic or not, it could be my A1C, let's say it's normal. But next year, when I check it, it could still be normal, but it's changing a little bit. So I believe having a physical, and I'm saying men since we're talking about men today, but for everybody, having that physical, it's kind of a very good way for you to understand where you are at as far as your life overall, because it tells you you are doing this, this is right. Let's say I check my cholesterol this year, it's this number. And I go, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. Next year I check it, it's higher, then it gives me a warning, even though it's still normal. But if it's high, it gives you a warning that I was not doing the right thing. So with that, then it kind of brings me back on track. The last part that I think the most important, I think maybe I should remove my glasses to talk this part. Now, when we were talking about psychogenic problems. So this problems, what it is a lot of the time, the performance, the sexual performance of a man, it's not necessarily there is physical hormonal issues that's going on, but a lot of it is because of right here. And again, you guys, if you're watching this, you could tell me, but let's say today you go, you meet somebody, and that somebody you meet, it could be that you are so excited and you go, you don't perform well. So that person that you are with, and I'm hoping that many of you watching this and you have your partner next to you, because obviously those type of counseling, when I do them in the office, I like to do it with the couple. The two people come and we sit down together and we have this conversation. So let's say you go that first time and it didn't work out for you. Then obviously the psychogenic problem we're talking about, it becomes a issue now, because the more failure you have, the less ability that you have to perform. Sometimes some of you guys may think, well, you know what, maybe my wife is not as attractive, maybe she didn't wear those little things from Victoria's Secret or whatever it is. But a lot of the time it's just that because you had one failure, so one failure leads to another failure, and another failure, and another failure. And we'll tell you how can you help this from happening, and how, as far as medicine, how do I help my patients to overcome that issue? So the problem is not just the man, but the number one thing, we have to have a conversation. Because again, as a man, sometimes it could be that something happens that you have a failure. You are afraid because wow, you know what? Most likely the same thing will happen. You sometimes you may be like, you're just about to make it. It's like, oh, wow, it's going to happen. Well, it just crossed your mind that, oh, I remember the last time I didn't satisfy her. Maybe tonight, man, if I do this again, I could just leave the house. I mean, what am I going to do? She's going to tell on me. She's going to talk to her friends about me. And that's also another advice that I always tell my patients is like, those things sometimes you need to keep them a little bit personal, because the more you go out there and you talk about it, the man found out that you've been talking about it, then it could create even more issues. But how can we stop this? Well, communication. Let's talk to our partners. Let's discuss with them. What can we do? How can we do it better? What pleases you? We have to learn each other so we could make this thing pleasurable. Now, how do we fix this? Well, there's several ways that you could fix it, but I'm going to answer for you. The first thing that I would recommend all my patients to do is to go ahead and do those natural things. Let's eat better. But the medicine, a lot of the time, and I have been having a very good success in trying to do this, I give you that medicine only as a tool, as a support, as a source of motivation. When I give those pills, there are pills that we use like Cialis, Viagra. I give a lot of Cialis in my office because Cialis is cheaper. But what I tell you is, I'm giving you this pill. You take it just as a support, as something, as a tool that help you to build your self-esteem. So when I give you that pill, you take it because you take the pill. Then in your mind, it's not 100%. I'm not saying those pills are placebos or anything, but it's not 100% the pill, but also what you get. It makes you develop a conviction, a strength, a positivity. Being a social media influencer, and a lot of my videos on TikTok, you will see I talk a lot about better natural ways. Like in my office, when people comes, I'm able to help them. Like if you're taking blood pressure medications, I would rather work with you on a plan, on a diet plan, on something that helps you. A lot of the time, we could just change our diet, change what we eat, and change our relationship. Whoever we are with, let's sit down with them. Let's talk with them. Let's tell them how we feel. And you, ladies out there, just tell your, just tell your partner. Tell them, hey, I'm not satisfied this way. It's better that way. And all that, because all those things, because it's a mental thing, it has a lot to do with mental. So all these things will help you so you perform better. It will help your partner to be more satisfied as well. So the other thing that could cause you to not perform as well is if you have pre-diabetes or you have insulin resistant. So all these conditions, what they do, they cause kind of aging and irritation and inflammation inside of your blood vessels. So those are the same stuff that happens with like cholesterol and things like that. And these happens a lot, like people who are eating processed food, for instance, go and eat a hot dog, eat a sausage. All these processed food will cause that irritation, causing problem of blood flow in those vessels. So imagine if you need blood flow to keep that penis hard, then obviously if you have anything that is interfering with the blood flow going into the penis, obviously it's going to affect you. The best that you could do is to try to minimize the effect of that sugar in your life. And remember, like if you drink alcohol, it increases the sugar. A lot of the things we eat, a lot of the carbs that you're eating, they have a lot of sugar. So the more you eat those things, the worse it makes your situation. So again, those elements will cause that inflammation inside those vessels. Now, the way you could reverse this, we do have a lot of natural anti-inflammatory that you could take. Pineapple, ginger, all these things. And if you look at TikTok page at GoJB Health, you'll see I have a lot of those fruits sometimes I talk about. Those fruit will help you decrease that inflammation. If you reduce the inflammation, you reduce the aging of those vessels, then it allows blood to flow better. Then obviously you're solving the problem, because what happens even with the medications, when we give you the medicine, we don't help you solve the problem. The way that I go with my people, and I think all of us should look at it, is to try to go in the root of what is causing you to have that problem. Is it because you don't speak well in your relationship, or is it because you are eating bad? So anyway, to finish, I just want to say, a lot of people talk about testosterone level. So obviously your testosterone level is very important. This is part of us as men that help us think well, help us to have energy, and obviously help us also to perform sexually. So what you need to do is to try to do things that are not going to destroy your testosterone level. But the main thing that will destroy it is, again, as I said, if you're eating all those carbs, you're eating a lot of sugar, you're not eating the proper food item, you're drinking alcohol, especially over drinking alcohol. If you try to do those things, it will help you at least to minimize your issue of having that erectile dysfunction. But also, I want to say, if you have that problem, you want to have a conversation, not just with your partner, have it with your doctor, your primary care. Come to them. Take your wife with you, like I do with a lot of my patients. Have a conversation. Let's sit together. Let's talk about what's going on. Because if you talk about it, that's an opportunity for you to fix it. Some guys, for instance, that you put them on blood pressure medicine, a lot of the blood pressure medicine could cause you to have erectile dysfunction. But then sometimes they are non-compliant with the medication. We could cause them to even have a stroke or damages. But they don't tell you that, hey, I don't take this because because this is such a topic that when you are a man and you're telling somebody that, man, I can't perform sexually, it's always like it's a big thing. But I think the number one thing, you should be very comfortable with whoever you have as your provider, so you could have those conversations with them, so you could talk to them. So if this medication is because some of those blood pressure medications, some of them have more side effects, sexual side effects than others. So obviously, if you talk to me, I could manage to find you a medication that doesn't have as many side effects. But also, what I can do, I can always put you on something and have conversation with you. Because if I don't know what's going on with you, I can't help you. It's a whole package. It's a whole package is how you do it, how you communicate about it. And again, everybody has some type of fantasy. They have something that really is important to them. So again, if you don't communicate about it, then obviously they're not gonna know. And we cannot have a good relationship. And again, a man cannot be happy, because let me tell you, the happiest man is the man that feels like they are satisfying their home. You just tell the person, this is what I want. The person say, this is what I want. And we move on. We do what we do so we could enjoy, because that's what sex is for us to enjoy, and have a good time.